Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain, where I have actually just gotten my decaf coffee that I had made during the last episode I recorded. And so now I have my coffee, I have my books and reviews, and I think rain is on the forecast. So potentially, we will see. But we are talking today about Royal Gambit by Daniel O'Malley. Now this is the Checquy Files number 4 or the Check Files. I'm not really sure because I usually read these books, physically read these books. This is book number 2. So there is a pronunciation in one of the books that I think it's like the Checquy, but I'm not 100%. So however you pronounce it, if you've ever read these books, maybe you can let me know down below how you say it, because again, when you read physical books or ebooks and you just have to pronounce it the way you kind of think it might be, there was like I said, a portion in I feel like Royal Gambit that I thought it was like Checquy, but again, I could be wrong, really could be wrong. Let us dive into this. So this is technically book number 4. It starts with Rook, then we have Stiletto, then we have Blitz, and now we have Royal Gambit. From the brilliant and hilarious author of The Rook, a delightful new supernatural, so sometimes when I read Goodreads, these are not full sentences. It says a delightful new supernatural when the heir to, there's no period or anything. I think it's like a supernatural agent book. But when the heir to the British throne suddenly dies under mysterious circumstances, the Checquy operatives and reluctant aristocrat Alex is assigned to be a lady-in-waiting / personal bodyguard to the new crown princess and must navigate the halls of power and privilege while investigating the supernatural murder of the Prince of Wales. Alexandra, or Alex, Dennis Palmer, Hudson Gilmore, Garnsey, the 12th Lady of Mondegrin, has never had any control of her life. Sorry, little Leo was just looking at me. He just had dinner, so I don't know what he wants anymore. Has never had any control of her life. Her supernatural ability to shatter bones with a touch made her the automatic property of the Checquy, the secret British government agency that deals with the supernatural. Her aristocratic ancestry made Alex the perfect asset for the Checquy to deploy close to the royal family. Since childhood... What are you upset about, bud? What? You just should have a full tummy. Give me just a few minutes, okay? Just a few. Since childhood, Alex has been coached to befriend Princess Louise, second in line to the throne, but despite all machinations, the two have never been close. Now an adult and a full pawn of the Checquy, Alex is a skilled investigator unraveling supernatural manifestations for the security of the nation. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. So sorry, little Leo he's having his own little moment, so I'm gonna go get him. All right. Come hang out with us, little buddy. All right. I know there's a microphone blocking your way. Hold on. Maybe people can see you if you're over here. There you are. You all right? My poor little guy. So sorry. Everything changes when Louise's brother, the Prince of Wales, dies abruptly, and all signs point to unnatural assassination. To protect Louise, the new and unwilling heir apparent, Alex is assigned to be her lady-in-waiting. Thrust into the limelight overnight, both in the everyday world and the underground world of the Checquy, Alex must juggle her responsibilities and her loyalties as she attempts to unravel the murder, keep Louise safe, and learn how to smile graciously while eerie threats loom around every corner. So it is considered urban fantasy. I think it's one of my probably top 5 favorite genres. I probably say that about several things, but cozy fantasy is one of them. Urban fantasy. I don't really like romantasy so much, but and sci-fi fiction and mystery. So we'll go from there. So I personally really liked this book. This is a series that I forgot, and I don't know how Blitz fell off my radar, so I didn't read book number 3. But I physically own book number 2, and these have been out, or this one is just coming out July 15th of 2025. This one I've had at least since 2016, 2017, somewhere around in there. I'm not even sure, but maybe that's when they came on my radar, when a coworker of mine told me about Rook, and then I picked it up and I loved it, so I immediately picked up Stiletto after that. So really good in my personal opinion. If you like that urban fantasy, science fiction like genre, not as, it's kind of like James Bond-esque, like MI5 meets the supernatural, but not in the terms of like Dresden Files or the Something from Nightside series. Now, it does seem as though some of the individuals who work in the Checquy may look a little funny, may look a little foreign in the ways like aliens or looking like a human leech or things of that nature when you have these supernatural abilities, may cause you to look. There's one particular guy I think they mentioned who he's like made of sapphires or something, and then he falls down the stairs and he breaks, and so they have to take him to like get fixed. So that's one little thing. But I always enjoy these books. It does have just enough of that whirlwind, again, James Bond-esque vibe, where we've got to keep this super secret agent super secret, or super secret agency secret. And the royals do seem to know, except for Louise, who was, I don't want to say she was the spare, but it does seem as though since Edmund was mysteriously offed, that now Louise is the second in line, and then her brother Nicholas after her. So the king is actually, I guess, Alex grew up in the court with the family, and her and Louise got along pretty well. I wouldn't say they were best friends, but they were friends for sure. They would lose touch over the years, and of course one is literally the princess to the throne, and then the other is a noble, but she's not like a super super high ranking noble. So they both lead fairly different lives. As the book continues to roll, what happens is, well, I guess what starts the activity in motion is that Edmund, the heir apparent, he falls over dead in the library. And they are completely unsure what has just happened. Like, he just stops breathing, just boom. And everybody is super confused because there's no visible sign of any sort of trauma. Well, of course, some of the royals seem to know about the supernatural, so they do call a supernatural expert from the Checquy to come and try to get it figured out. And lo and behold, what they discover is that, yes, Edmund has in fact been targeted, and there is inside of his brain this granite cube in his brain. And it looks like it's about 3 inches by 3 inches just in his brain. So I guess people can't live with that in their heads, especially if it happens to put itself in there very suddenly. So that's what happens to Edmund. Well, now Alex is kind of trying to figure out, because again, she grew up with Louise. Edmund is her brother, so Alex actually knows or knew Edmund and was very familiar with him as a person. So it's pretty touching for her to, I guess, now have to mourn his loss, as well as, like, there is the brother Nicholas as well. But Alex, she's trying to convince the Checquy whether Louise is fit to be told about this secret agency. And she's like, well, I think Louise has probably got a fairly even head, but I don't know how she's going to react. You know, she's never really had to deal with this sort of thing, really, because Edmund was the heir apparent. Louise never needed to know. And so, growing up, Alex never told her. And so, I don't know why or how Louise, like, never got a wind of it, but she never did. But it does seem as though Nicholas must know about it, because Alex later tells him that Louise is going to need him. And so I do think that Nicholas knows. And I feel like there's just a little bit of backstory in book number 3 that I must have missed, but that's my fault. That is not this book's fault. This is my fault, because when I picked this book up on NetGalley, because I got super excited when I saw this, I was like, heck yes, another Checquy Files book. I was flipping through to get to the beginning page, the starting page, and of course I see the 4 books that Daniel O'Malley, and I was like, Blitz? When did Blitz come out? Well, now I got to go back and find it, because I definitely need to read that to see where we've come from, to know how we got here. But let's just say Edmund is not the only person who is suffering from these cubes to the brain. It does seem as though the individuals who have this happen, and they do not make it, of course, seem to not be connected in any real way. One just happens to be the Prince of Wales, who is supposed to be the next king. So I'm not going to try to spoil it. Again, I hate doing that, but it's a really fun story. There is like a rampaging stegosaurus at one point, because there is a particular agent who has the ability to turn into a stegosaurus. There is a secret agent who has the ability to turn into a tree, and is able to turn into a tree and then more or less read the pheromones of the neighborhood. It was very interesting the way it was described. I was quite impressed. Now, I will say that according to Becca, who again is a Goodreads reviewer, she said in some ways it's an improvement from the previous installment. So I didn't get to read Blitz, so that's my fault. But she does make a note that she feels like it got a bit repetitive in the middle and could have used a tighter edit. I will actually kind of agree with that. I do feel like we did a more nothingness than we really needed to, and I'm not sure what the purpose of that was, because while yes, Alex is now one of the ladies in waiting for the princess, she I don't feel like we need to read about the princess and her ladies in waitings imbibing in tequila into the wee hours of the night and then waking up with hangovers and tiaras in odd places. And I say odd places as in on the wrong heads, just wrong people's heads. So but I like Alex. I think in the first book we had a girl named Miffany, and I loved that name. I thought that was a really cool name, Miffany. And so I'm just trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to tell you without giving you spoilers? And I think that's really it. It's fun, it's action-packed. It's got a good mystery to trying to figure out what's going on. There is an individual who seems to be trying to get close to the king, so I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to leave it there. But otherwise, with all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Royal Gambit by Daniel O'Malley, I thought, was a very good installment into this series. I really need to go back now and because it's been so long since I've read the rest of the series, probably need to go back and reread them. Because, I don't know if you can tell, but Stiletto is actually quite thick. And I think Miffany might be the main character in this one as well. I'm wondering if this is where Alex comes into play too, because again, it's been years since I've actually read these books, but I just remembered loving them when I first did, and I still do enjoy the fun mystery. I would say this is a little bit more action packed. I wouldn't call it thriller or suspense. I don't think we're in that realm. It's more of like an action adventure, and running around. I don't know how the British government or the Checquy keep the world from finding out about the supernatural going on in the world, or at least in the UK, but they seem to do it pretty good. I don't know how we also prevent people from finding out about a stegosaurus running rampant inside a government building, but we seem to be able to cover that up pretty well as well. But with all of that being said, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not liked and subscribed already, I hope you will. Oh, and I think I have I'm getting a new digital camera that I'm hoping does video, and so in the future, once I figure it out, I may have a new camera, so we shall see. I'm also getting a different computer as well, because I'm about to start working on my PhD program, and I don't think that my tiny Surface Pro is really going to be conducive to me writing a very long doctoral thesis. So figured I would better go ahead and invest in some sort of desktop computer where I can type a little bit more easily than just on the keyboard of my Surface Pro. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great one. Oh, and see you all on the next page. Bye.